Hey guys, back out here working on our 68 Charger. It's late, and thankfully I do have a little bit of help. I got my man T-Bone out here. Just looks like he had a fudge popsicle or something going on there, but either way, he's stoked to be out here, wants to work with Dad, so pretty awesome stuff. But we're gonna go ahead and I don't have any help to lift up the door. To install the door, as most of you know, if you've lifted them up, they're heavier than hell, and giant pain in the ass to start bolts, and it's kind of a nightmare to do by yourself. So I'm gonna have to wait and until I have some help for that, but I still have plenty of stuff to do. But I did want to start off by saying, first off, thank you to everybody for the comments, the feedback, the tips, and I know a lot of you guys are kind of reaching out to me asking for more and more videos, and really I think this is helping with some of your builds. So anything I can do to help and anything I can do to share my experience and any tips or anything that I learn along the way. As I said in the first video, I'm definitely not an expert on chargers, but we're figuring it out as we go here, and I think we've got some really good content lined up, and I'm really excited to show you guys the rest of this build. So if you have not done so already, please subscribe to the videos, and I'm going to keep on publishing these videos every couple days, hopefully. But please stick around on this video. I've got something really special towards the end of this video that I think a lot of you guys are going to be very interested in. And I can't wait to talk to you guys about it, so stick around. But for the purpose of today's video, we're going to get started, and we're going to do this rear wheelhouse. So I didn't show the video yet of kind of opening all this up and what it looked like before, but that'll be coming here in a future update. If you guys have ever watched Chris Birdsong, he's done a lot of these videos already, showed how to do this a couple times, and actually I've learned kind of how to do this from him. So just to start off by saying, we're going to cut this right here along the seam all the way down on the inside here, flat with this wall. If you look really close, you can kind of see where there's roller marks right where this outer wheelhouse seams up against the inner. And if you're going to try to drill all that out, it would take you forever. And there's a good chance you'd really screw up some metal along the way. So we're going to actually cut it right here along the seam all the way around the wheelhouse. And then when we weld it on, we'll actually weld it flat up against that seam. You'll never know the difference. It'll still be extremely strong, and it'll go in just fine. As you can see on the top here, I will have to rebuild this section. Really common rust area, especially if you find that you have bad drip rail moldings. Okay, so what happens is that, as the weather gets in here, you can see how mine are kind of completely opened up here. But the rain gets in here, ends up going up behind the quarter, and ends up rotting out everything up into here. So pretty sure that's why this went. Pretty sure that's why the back of the rocker was rotted out too. And you can kind of actually see, how rainwater made its way all the way down here over those 40 years that it was sitting. So, but we're gonna jump straight into this. I do have a brand new AMD panel here, just like all the rest. It's fantastic quality. Yeah, I can't wait to get this thing installed. It looks beautiful. So let's get to it. Here we go, you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready, dude?
Yeah.
Awesome. How's that face clearance on that mask?
Good.
Awesome. All right, so looking brand new already here. Let's take a closer look. As I mentioned earlier, we did lay this flat across the front of this. I'd seen that in some other videos, and it does seem like it's gonna work just fine. It does sit nice and flat up against there. Should not be an issue whatsoever. Did end up having to cut up behind this little brace right here just to slide that piece up behind on that side. and then down here. So I will say, you know, you hear a lot that aftermarket panels are not perfect. You know, they're never going to be perfect, but I will say it's really close. It's really, really close. So you can see, yeah, you can see here, I mean, the hole is not perfectly aligned on that side. You know, on the front right here where this little white spot here, you can see it's a little bit off there. But that's kind of the whole purpose with not welding this in right now. I'm just going to leave it tacked in until we get rear quarters for this thing. And just so that way we have a little bit of wiggle room back and forth. But I will say the fitment on the rocker is pretty damn good. This is just held in right now with clamps. We're still going to weld this in this weekend. But you can see here, you know, it does fit nice and tight. Should not have any issue pulling this inside of here. So yeah, I don't see any issues with that whatsoever. But pretty straightforward, pretty easy job. So hey guys, before we move on here, I did want to take a quick second and show you guys a really neat tool that if you've ever installed inner rockers, certainly on the wheel housing here or anywhere where you're working directly with a seam, one of the biggest pain in the ass jobs that you have to do is drilling all of the holes for all of the future plug welds where you're going to attach that panel. And you know, it always happens, you take a brand new piece of sheet metal, AMD sheet metal straight out of the box, you lay it on the bench, you throw the drill in it, and you end up, you know, taking it completely out of shape, bending the metal, you know, kind of getting kickback from the drill that you're working with, and it's just kind of overall a big pain. Not to mention, after you drill every one of your holes, then you got to deburr the holes, and it just takes a really long time. It gets frustrating. You end up screwing up a lot of panels that way. I know definitely installing the firewall on my Camaro had some issues with that too, where you're just trying to drill really nice, you know, pristine, consistent holes across the edge of the panel, and it's always kind of a pain. So I've got Eastwood here local to me, and this is obviously not sponsored or anything like that. I just found this to be an extremely helpful tool that saves me a lot of time and ends up improving the quality of the holes that I drill for these panels. But I did want to show you guys here. It's a punch flange tool, and it's made by Onyx, but I just picked this up from Eastwood. I think it was like 80 bucks or 100 bucks. I will include the link in the description below. But you can see here, hopefully you guys can see that, but one side's a punch tool like on this side, and the other side's a flange. So if you think, obviously the punch tool is going to create all of our perimeter plug weld holes, but the flange tool, if you're going to flange, like let's say this quarter panel here, and you wanted to flange the inside of it so that way your panel, you know, kind of sits against it and has some backing against it. It's a really sweet tool, and it's so easy to use. Yeah. All right. So that's all it takes. Every single one of our plug weld holes are drilled out. They're perfect all the way around. Does not require any sort of deburr or anything. Perfectly smooth along the edge. So definitely check that tool out. Like I said, I think it really improves the overall efficiency and definitely the quality of your panels when you install them.